Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Rachel. I'm an owner and craft educator here at Oak and Lamb. Today we're going to be comparing one of the newer Cricut products with a wonderful dupe we found on Amazon and kind of compare prices and show you how each of them work, and you guys can make your own decision at the end of the video whether you want to spend the money on Cricut's version or Amazon's version. And we're talking about watercolor pens today. Now, if you're not much of a paper crafter or you're not really into watercolor, I would challenge you to try one of these two products because they really inspired us here at Oak and Lamb a lot to integrate some watercolor into some projects in the future because it's so fun and user-friendly. So if you haven't checked out watercolor or these really easy to use watercolor pens, this is a great video for you. Before we do get started, it is completely free to click the link down below and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, ring that bell to get notified with more amazing videos like this because they come out all the time and we don't want you to miss it. Okay, so the Cricut brand of watercolor markers, you actually only get 8 of them. Now, 8 is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. It's really not. So we're going to go through those today. You do get, like I said, 8 colors, but the catch is 2 of them are black and brown, and I think that those are kind of boring as far as colors go, in my opinion. So you get 8 colors. You get yellow, purple, blue, green, red, orange, black, and brown. Now, this is so far the only color pack they have. They do have these markers for the Cricut Joy, and of course another product. You can't switch these out with the Joy and then integrate them with the other machines. But a pack of these 8 watercolor markers with the brush, so it does come with a watercolor brush, is right now on Amazon $17.98. Now, these prices are subject to change. Amazon prices do change. We're not going off of Cricut's prices because they will be higher. We're going off of Amazon's prices. So $17.98 for 8 markers, 2 of which are black and brown. Again, it almost makes me hate to include those colors in there because when I think of watercolor, I think of like pastel and bright and happy colors. But yeah, we've got 8 colors with that. Now, the other set that we're going to be comparing this to today has 54 colors, 4 different brushes, and it also comes with a 15-page watercolor notepad or like drawing pad, which I think is an amazing value. So all of this, 54 markers, the 4 brushes, and the watercolor pad for $38.99. Now, if you're doing the math on that, this is, of course, a much, much better deal. The colors are gorgeous and vibrant. It has like a big color like a color block on the back to where you can see what all the colors are, and we'll dive into that. Now, how are we going to make these work in our Cricut? So there are some workarounds where you don't have to purchase anything in order to get these to work in your Cricut. However, we posted video earlier in the week. Check it out if you haven't already. I'll link it here above me, and that was using these amazing pen adapters that we also got on Amazon. These were less than 20 bucks. It comes with 13 different sets of adapters for your Cricut machines, and you can use all kinds of different off-brand, so not Cricut brand, pens and markers and things like that in your machine. Super easy with these adapters. So I'm going to link all of this down below as well. Go check out that video if you want to know how to use these adapters, how easy they are to pop into your Cricut machine. Completely foolproof, completely easy, and I absolutely love it. Now, in the past, we have done some videos on how to use other types of markers and pens in your Cricut without adapters, and there are like rubber bands involved and all kinds of things. Now, if you want to be doing that a lot, which in my opinion, Cricut pens in general are really expensive and they dry out really quick, so I like to steer clear of Cricut pens. We were gifted these in a gift set, or else we probably wouldn't even have them. So we like to use pens from the Dollar Tree or Crayola fine line markers or Sharpie fine line pens, and they have all of those options here on the paper. But now you can use whatever pens that you have. Granted, they're not like super thick, of course. They can fit in the clamp in these adapters. Again, that video previously this week really goes in depth on how to use these. So this is the adapter we're going to be using for our Amazon watercolor markers. It's amazing. So we're going to go and I'll show you in Design Space the design that we're going to be checking out for this, because we're going to be comparing and contrasting these two different products with different colors. So we're just going to use some simple rainbow colors and test out these watercolor markers and see how they perform. Okay, so over in Design Space, I have just chosen a font that doesn't have like center letters, which I really like, and switched these each up here to the pen and switch those to the watercolor colors. So I've got red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So we're gonna stick with super basic colors to see how these watercolor colors with the different brands really stand up with each other. So I'll pick the most comparable colors in the large Amazon pack that look the most like the Cricut colors. Now I did that because I could choose a lot better colors from the Amazon pack, because there's 54 colors in there, but there's only 8 colors, really 6 if you're not counting brown and black, in the Cricut bundle. So I really wanted to make sure that the colors were super similar and comparable, so we could test it out as fair as we could. So I have just sized this to fit well on my watercolor paper that I have, and now I'm going to click Make It. And I'm going to pull this down, and I'll show you my mat here in a bit, but I want to kind of center this. We've got about 8 inches of width to work with, and I'm going to pull this down here to about the 3-ish inch line, and this will be in the center of the paper on my physical mat. Now I'm going to click Continue and connect to my Cricut. Now for my material setting, I'm actually going to click Browse All Materials and search Water. And you can see heavy watercolor paper comes up, and that's actually the one that we're going to be using today. So we have heavy watercolor paper. Now it's not going to be cutting anything, it's just going to be drawing. And here you can see it's going to prompt us to tell us which pen is coming up. Always reference back in Design Space because it will tell you this. So we have our red pen, and then it'll tell us red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Perfect. And then we're going to go back and do that again on the lower sheet. We're going to repeat the entire process, but instead of using the Cricut pens, we're going to be using the watercolor markers from Amazon. So we're going to be doing the Cricut pens on the top and the Amazon watercolor pens on the bottom. So here's our mat. We have 2 sheets of our paper here. So we're going to use this top sheet again for the Cricut brand watercolor pens. And then down here, we're going to add our Amazon pens. Now, here are the ones we've chosen, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. And then here are the Amazon ones, which are very comparable, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be using. Out of our adapter pack, we're using adapter J. Now again, if you want to know more about this, check out the video a couple days ago. I'll link it in the description below, but this is a game changer. So we're using the J adapter for the Amazon markers today. So let's go ahead, follow the prompts in Design Space, and we'll get this going. It wants us to have our red marker loaded. So I'm just going to pull that cap off, put the cap on the back, open up clamp A, snap it in, and then press our flashing start button. Now it's prompting us to load in our green. So I'm just going to pop that out, put the cap back on, load in our green, and continue. Now it says blue. Again, I don't know why the Cricut goes out of order. Don't ask me. I just let it do its thing. Now yellow. I thought it was going to say orange. Pop the cap off, put it in the clamp. These go pretty fast, as you can see. Now for orange. Last one. Good. Now you can, of course, take this out of there. Now we're going to leave this on the mat, and we're going to go over here, and you can go ahead and unload this. And remember on your mat how much you have to work with, because you can see here our next paper starts at 6 inches. So when we go back in Design Space, and I'll do this, you all don't have to, just make sure you drop that down. That's where we're going to drop it down lower. And it's asking about our red watercolor. So we've got the cap off of the pen. Again, we're using adapter J, and we're just going to pop it into the clamp. We have to remove this other clamp, which you just press up from the bottom. This inserts right down there, and go. Green is next. Now with these, the adapter comes out every time, so you do have to pay attention to that. You put the adapter on the pen before it goes into the clamp on these. Blue. And these are more like a feather tip instead of like a hard marker. So as you can see, and this is something we do have to compare, you know, just to keep everything fair, but that's something we do have to note, like on the end there where it's not so pretty and perfect, it's because it is a feather tip. So that's something we do have to talk about. Next is yellow. Pop our yellow in here, pop it in the clamp. Now we can unload, remove our adapter and our pen. I'm going to put the original adapter back in its spot, and we're good to go. Now I'm just going to go through here and add the watercolor in all of these areas so that we can compare and contrast the color difference. So I'm just going to start here, and the reason why I switched that around is so I don't rub any off of the bottom there. And I'm not trying to do this super perfect. I'm doing it to be able to see the nice pretty colors and see how they would blend. I'm not trying to do this super, super perfect. And I'll take a paper towel and wipe off my brush in between colors. Just kind of seeing how these colors are going to blend. Okay, so right off the bat, the Cricut colors look more vibrant. Now, again, the Cricut, you have 8 colors, and in the Amazon pack, you have a bunch of colors. A bunch of colors to select from. There's a ton of them. Here's all of them. Now, they do work decent. They do work well. I do like the yellow better in this Amazon pack. Honestly, they're extremely comparable for what you use them for. Now, of course, this was just one very small example to the huge amount of things that you can do with watercolor. Now, as far as watercolor in general goes, these watercolor pens are gorgeous and phenomenal. If you're just interested in watercolor, please purchase this pack. It's a great value. But if we're simply comparing like how well these do in the Cricut, of course, the Cricut ones were designed for something more like this. And where these are the feather tip, the brush tip, sometimes they don't draw perfectly straight, crisp lines like you would see a needle tip pen do, like the ones that were created for the Cricut. Now, again, in my opinion, to get the colors and to get the value, I would still go this route completely and get the Amazon one. But that is 100% for you all to decide. But this is how you use the Cricut watercolor pens, and we went ahead and compared some from Amazon for you. I think that both of them are a great product. Yeah, so they work really, really well for what they're intended for. What did you all think of these watercolor pens? I absolutely love the way that they turned out. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that bell. Also, if you happen to be a Cricut beginner, or maybe you're a seasoned Cricut crafter looking for some new inspiration, Oak and Lamb is exactly where you need to be. Join the flock today. Click the first link in the description below and see how you can become a member. You can get $20 off your annual membership with us using the code 2020OFF, OFF, 20OFF. It's a great sale to be able to jump on and take advantage of. You'll get $20 off not just your first year, but every year you stay with us. Not only do we have over 1,000 digital cut files with free commercial use licensing, but we also have a member-only Facebook group where all of our incredible flock members come together, post pictures, ask questions, and just have a wonderful crafty time in that amazing exclusive community. We also have training on all of the Cricut machines, so what comes in the box, the differences between materials, a deep dive into design space, everything you need to know to master your machine, we have free included in membership with those courses. Along with that, we do have other member-only trainings, member-only comparisons and projects, as well as a member-only podcast as well. It's a lot of fun in that membership. Do not forget to check it out. Join if you haven't already, and we cannot wait to welcome you as a member of our flock. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I can't wait to see you another day for another one.